Good morning. This is another debriefing of a trip to Roaring Spring. It's Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday, and I went to Roaring Spring as I usually do in the afternoon. This week, I think I can just do it in two videos, possibly one, but I'm going to make it two. Uh, because the second thing I want to take more time with. In some ways, it was uneventful, in some ways, going to Roaring Spring. Uh, my Pennsylvania Dutch teacher uh, could not help me on Wednesday because his wife, again, is going to the doctor. His wife is very, very ill. But anyway, I called Tuesday. He was there, but he said it wouldn't work. They were going to take her to the doctor. So that meant I had a little bit more time. I'm a little tightly squeezed because, anyway, I had about an hour's more time than I usually would have. And so what I did was I turned left when I got to the Sproul Mountain Road, approaching Roaring Spring. Instead of going straight on Bloomfield Road, I think it's called, into Roaring Spring, the normal way, the way everyone goes, I decided I would, for the third time in my life, go a different way. I took a left on Sproul Mountain Road. Instead of going up over the mountain where it turns sharp to the left, I turned right. And it was a nameless road. When I finally got off it at the other end, I think it said Burketttown Road or something like that. But anyway, that road also goes straight toward Roaring Spring, but on the west side of Halter Creek, but not over the mountain. So it's between Halter Creek on the right, down in there somewhere, and the mountain on the left, and you approach Roaring Spring. It's very circuitous because it goes in and out, in some ways almost on a contour, in and out of all the gullies that are coming down off the mountain. And I'm just studying it because I always study the land I'm going through if I can while driving. And there's lots to say, but I learn more. And believe me, very little traffic goes on that road. I imagine there are many people who live in Roaring Spring that have never been on that road. But anyway, it finally comes out on Euston Road, Euston Street, I think it is. Maybe it's road. And that's where you come up to the normal way to go into Roaring Spring. So I took the leisure to do that. Another thing was that it seems to me there were three things. Well, I stopped at Danny K's Cafe, which is one of my usual stops, and there Sheena was in a hurry. She had to go because her daughter is having photographs taken for college. She's been accepted in college. She's a high school senior. Her name is Danica, but she said she had to go. So I was sorry because I like to talk to her, and I did tell her, managed to squeeze in time to tell her about my creation of the Facebook group, the Once and Future Roaring Spring. I don't know if she'd remembered or not, but I squeezed that in, and I saw that her grandmother, Audrey, was not there. Again, I was sad to see that because I really enjoy talking to Audrey, who I think is 88. She might be 89. I hate to get the number wrong, but she sure doesn't seem like it. But anyway, she wasn't there. I left off some raw milk. But the eventful thing I'll come back to, because once Sheena left, she left the place in the charge of a young woman, and it was only her second day on the job. This young woman, a friend of Danica's, and I'll come back to that because I want to talk to you about our conversation. So there's two things. I'm probably skipping something. The third thing was, again, since I had time, I wasn't in a hurry. Instead of going straight into the Spring Dam Brewery, which is usually my final stop, I parked and then walked down slowly around to places where I could see how it was going, the cleanup at the paper mill site. I really was taking my time, and I saw that they were really getting it a lot done. Oh, I had tried to squeeze in a visit to Jeff Wendell, who is the man in charge of that cleanup. But as I approached the door, a guy came out and said he saw me. He can't talk to me today. He's in meetings all day. He said, come back another day, which, that was fine. I just wanted to check in on how things were going. I kind of gave up. I stopped. I gave up on the idea of pollarding the bank because it's already too late. The leaves are beginning to come out in the buds. So anyway, I still had plenty of time. So I walked around and looked and realized it was probably going to be my last chance to see through all that brush to what that's like down there where the water comes out of the spring dam and goes down its natural drain, and walked around trying to figure out where exactly was that water wheel at the DM Bear grist mill before they tore that down and changed it. And I finally figured it out. I studied the paving, and I realized that where the wheel had been filled in and paved on top of. But I could still see where that wheel had been. And that was satisfying. So I kind of have that figured out now. And I still had a little bit of time. So when I was walking up around where the old police station was, and I was sort of heading along Main Street, just looking at the buildings and trying to remember what it was like when I was a little boy, which buildings were there and what they were, and seeing things. And I noticed a brick arch. Aha! I thought almost immediately, because there was a brick arch about maybe like this. I don't know if you can, I'm going off camera, I suppose. Let's say about 4 feet wide, a semicircular arch, and it goes under the driveway to the old police station. And I said, that's where the water went. That's how the water got to the gristmill's water wheel. And now I know the height. And I walked on a little bit, and sure enough, it all fit. I somehow had imagined that it was higher than that, but no, it all fit now. Now I understand. And when I looked on the far side, it wasn't as obvious where that water came out, because there'd been some concrete work done around there. But on the upstream side, it was clear as could be. It was a brick arch, and it had been there a long, long time for sure. So, and finally, the third thing, or fourth, when I went into the Spring Dam Brewery, it was empty. I was the only one there except for Brewer Mike. I'm going to call him Brewer Mike unless he wants me to start using his last name. Brewer Mike was there, and his partner, and somebody else came in. But anyway, and somebody came in later, but I had my dark beer, which I wish he'd brew all year round. It's the best beer he brews all year in my experience so far. But I was having that and figuring that I'd probably be heading home pretty soon. And I went over and sat down, looking out their big window at the panorama, the paper mill site and all. And Brewer Mike, he came up and he said they commented on the stuff that they'd taken down since I was there last week. But then he said, they say the governor's going to be here Friday. And I said, what? He said, yeah, the governor of Pennsylvania. They say he's going to be here on Friday. And I thought about that for a little bit, and I thought, well, he's probably coming to make some announcement then about the future of this industrial site. And Mike said, yeah, he imagined that was the case. And I told him, what I heard, what I told you last week about it becoming a data center, that was just a rumor. And he said, yeah, but I've heard it elsewhere too. And he dreads that, because he, maybe even more than me, fears the steady hum that's going to make. So I don't know. I'll research that more when I find out beyond the rumor. But I'm thinking a little bit, if I can confirm it at all, I may go into Roaring Spring again on Friday to hear what the governor's got to say. Be a first for me. All right, bye for now.